Morbius has dropped in theaters, expanding Sony's Spider-Man universe and proving it actually exists. It is not one big April Fool's joke. Or is it?
I went from dying to being more alive than ever.
BD here with your Morbius breakdown video, where I could tell you that there are Easter eggs like Daily Bugle headlines referencing a rhino on the loose, which could tie to the Spider-Man villain Rhino. And Chameleon's great escape being in the news is a nod to the Spider-Man villain Chameleon, who has recently been cast with Fred Hessinger in the part for Kraven the Hunter's movie. I could also tell you Aaron Taylor Johnson's Kraven the Hunter or his family might have been referenced in Morbius when it was revealed that a Russian gentleman is why Nichols hired security for Milo. I could point out that the
thing in San Francisco
referenced by the cops is supposed to be a Venom reference, or that Jared Leto told me himself he improvised the "I am Venom" line delivered by Morbius in the movie. Or I could even note that phrases like "school for gifted children" or "you won't like me when I'm hungry" made us all do the because of the cheap nods to X-Men School for Gifted Youngsters or the Hulk's line of "you won't like me when I'm angry." But I'm not going to do any of that today. Instead, I'm here to explain the post-credits scene and why it makes absolutely no sense with the information we've been given. Spoilers ahead. After Morbius stops his buddy Milo and the best part of the movie gets killed off, we cut to the post-credits scene where the purple multiverse in the sky starts opening up as we know it from Spider-Man No Way Home. In Morbius's purple rift in the sky, Adrian Toomes leaves the main MCU and appears in whatever universe Morbius is set in, which is supposedly the Venomverse, but who knows anymore, honestly. Venom already went from his universe to the main MCU and back, which we can justify through No Way Home's rules if we tie it all to comics, because in the comics, the symbiote has a hive mind, meaning since one universe's Venom knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man, all universes' Venoms know Peter Parker is Spider-Man, so we could stretch a bit if we really have to, and we do for this to make sense. But what really doesn't make sense is why Vulture left the main Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's really no reason that we know of, unless anybody who knew Peter Parker's identity is in jeopardy of leaving and traveling through the multiverse. Did Happy Hogan leave? Did Doctor Strange leave? Did Peter Quill and Mantis go to new universes? The rules were that people from other universes would go back to the universe they came from, and everyone else would forget Peter Parker's existence but stay in the main MCU. So if Vulture or people are just transporting out of it, we basically have another Thanos snap on our hands with people disappearing in the main world. Is Vulture originally from another universe? Are we scrapping the growth of the character from Spider-Man Homecoming? And what about his family? Does he want to see them again? Then comes the second credit scene, which sees Morbius driving through a desert, which seems like the obvious reshoot during the most recent delay, but that's just my theory, and it plays like a Porsche commercial. He meets Vulture in a desert, he's in a full-on Vulture suit, and it looks very much like the original, though it can't be because it didn't come with him, and it's made of Chitauri tech from the invasion of New York seen in the Avengers, and the invasion of New York did not happen in this universe, so that tech presumably doesn't exist here. Morbius director Daniel Espinosa said in a Twitter Q&A that it's not actually the same suit, so we just have to assume he made another one. And okay, it's Vulture, he's a smart guy, I'll give that a pass. But then Adrian Toomes decides he's going to make the assumption through voiceover that he is in this universe because of Spider-Man, which seemingly makes Morbius willing to team up and go bad after a whole movie of trying to be good if this scene is trying to set up the Sinister Six, which clearly it is implying that it is. Maybe they'll explain it later, but right now, why are either of these guys trying to join a Sinister Six?
Because it'll make a lot of money.
That's true. The only possible saving grace to any of this would be if the Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Andrew Garfield is actually now happening, and it's the Sinister Six movie that he was originally supposed to have, and there's footage that teased that sequel that never happened, that already exists. The problem is, neither of the Amazing Spider-Man movies are very good, despite Andrew Garfield being great in them. The Venom movies are not very good, and Morbius was not very good. Sony's Marvel films seem to just be telling their own stories through post-credit scenes about more exciting stories that might never be told, let alone told well. Overall, I don't think Morbius was the worst movie ever, like a lot of people seem to on social media already. I definitely think it's better than Venom Let There Be Carnage, but I also don't think I'll ever need to watch it again unless I'm looking for Easter eggs or something. It's weird that they removed the Spider-Man references and Vulture scenes that have been in the trailers for years now, and that makes me think this movie suffered a lot from reshoots and plan changes behind the scenes. The cast was fine. Jared, Matt, and Audrey all did their jobs, and I think Matt Smith did a pretty exceptional job, actually. And there are some cool action scenes that director Daniel Espinosa cooked up that made for Matrix-like vampire fights, and I also enjoyed the horror-ish hallway scene with the lights moving closer and closer. Like, it had a couple highlights, But other than that, Morbius told a story so simple that it's almost impressive it managed to be so messy and forgettable. So, because of all those things considered, I'm giving Morbius a 4 out of 10.
Story of my life.
What did you think of Morbius? Share your thoughts in the comments section or send them my way on Instagram at BrandonDavisPD. And if you want to hear the Phase Zero crew talk more about it, we have a bonus episode of our podcast available now on all major podcast platforms. Subscribe to our new Phase Zero YouTube channel for lots of exciting new content. I'm BD. I'll see you there.